Well, welcome everybody. My name is Aaron Marks, and I'm a marketing strategist with Avalaunch Media. And today I'm joined by Sam Dechtman with Dechtman Wealth. He's a wealth advisor and the managing director for Dechtman Wealth. And we're talking about, there's a lot of things going on in the industry right now, a lot of unknowns. Maybe things are changing in your life. I know in my life, things are always changing. And so we're talking about the need for a financial advisor. But first off, Sam, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate you for being here as well.
So let's just start very broadly. Why do folks, if they're doing it maybe on their own, maybe they're investing on their own, maybe they're saving on their own because they think they can save some money, why does someone need a financial advisor?
Yeah, and then that's a great question. And that's a question that a lot of folks are asking now in particular, given what's going on with the state of the market and the economy. And, even when things are going well, we always kind of bring this point up with our clients that in most areas in life, you want to seek out professionals when it's something that's extremely important to, your health or happiness. And when it comes to working with a financial advisor, that can impact a lot of different areas. And when it comes to retirement in particular, it can be extremely complex. So working with someone who can help you with investments and financial planning and taxes, which is a huge topic that's very misunderstood, especially in retirement and Social Security and Medicare. There's a lot of different topics that are all sort of interrelated with each other. And it's important to make smart decisions, because when you don't make smart decisions, that could have bad, potentially bad consequences for you or your family.
So just following up to that, I think a lot of folks would ask, can't I just do this stuff myself? We've got tools like Google and YouTube, and I know I fixed my washing machine one day off YouTube. Can I handle my investments from doing that sort of thing? What's the advantages to having a professional join me and paying that individual?
Yeah, absolutely. And Google and YouTube are fantastic resources. I use them all the time when I want to learn and fix things. And I'd say that, you can pretty much accomplish anything you want to on Google and YouTube. If you're not feeling well, of course, you could go to WebMD and you can give yourself your own diagnosis on, what you have and how to cure it. But when it comes to my health, when I'm not feeling well or I want a second opinion, I'm going to go see someone who has the experience and the education and the wherewithal to properly identify issues that may not even be apparent to me at that time. And so, working with a financial advisor is the same sort of scenario as working with a medical professional. You can find a lot of reading, you can find a lot of education online, but it's what you don't know that could really end up, hurting you in the end.
That's a great analogy, Sam. I had some general testing done, and something came back, not super alarming, but of notice. And instead of messaging my doctor, I Googled it, and that was like the worst, decision ever. And I ended up talking to him, which made me feel a lot better about it. So you're right on with that, the medical analogy. So in addition to handling your investments, what are some other services that a financial advisor can help me with?
Yeah, so all financial advisors and all financial advisory firms provide different types of services. So if you are interested in seeking out help, it would be very important, at the beginning of your relationship or discovery process to really understand what services they offer. Because again, everyone's going to offer something different and everyone has a little bit of a different expertise. But I'd say that broadly speaking, most financial advisors provide some version of the services that I'm about to describe here. And so financial planning, I'd say, is a service that most financial advisors are providing now. And financial planning in its essence is really a financial roadmap. It takes a true inventory and accounting as to where you are at now, and a financial advisor will help you identify your goals, or really the finish line on where you would like to be. And then it'll be important to lay out all of the services to help you get from where you are now to where you would like to be. And some of those services to help you get to the finish line, if you will, is investment management. And investment management is a service where the advisor would do all of the investment research, buy and sell investments on the client's behalf or in conjunction with the client's approval, and making those reallocation decisions over time, depending on market conditions, depending on your personal financial situation. So that's an extremely big one. Some financial advisors, such as Dechtman Wealth Management, help with tax reduction strategies. And so what that means is, are there different items or are there different areas of opportunity that you can take advantage of to reduce your taxes this year? Or are there different opportunities that you could be taking advantage of to reduce your taxes in future years? CPAs and accountants are fantastic, but by and large, if you're only meeting with them once a year, especially during tax time, they're probably very busy. So they're probably not giving you too much insight by and large as to making proactive decisions on how to reduce your taxes. So it's not that a financial advisor would take over the role of your CPA, but really be a nice additive, value to that. Another service would be helping with Social Security timing. For a couple, there are 81 different ways to file for benefits. And it's one of the most important financial decisions that you'll make in your entire lifetime. And when we're running these different analyses for our clients, particularly those that are married, we can find that the least ideal to the most ideal Social Security timing decision can mean, depending on the assumptions you want to use, over $100,000 over the course of their retirement picture. So it's extremely important to not put, that to guesswork. And then I'd say, Medicare planning is extremely important, and healthcare planning in general, whether that, include long-term care insurance planning. College education planning is another service, as well as help with estate planning. But I think those are the big hot button topics that really encompass most people in terms of their situation. But of course, each firm might have a particular, niche of individual that they work with to, narrow down even more specifically.
And so you had mentioned that with a financial advisor, there's financial planning, but we do have financial advisors and financial planners. Can they be different? You talk about how the firm and their offerings, are there differences and yet similarities? Is it common for a financial advisor to also be a financial planner, which you guys are at Dechtman?
Yes, I'd say that in the most general sense, those words, financial advisor and financial planner, are interchangeable. I think what would be really important is just to understand what services are ultimately going to be offered by which party. In a technical perspective, I think that a financial planner is someone that does financial planning in addition to the investment management and other services, where a financial advisor may provide a whole host of services, but maybe not put together a financial plan. But even though we call ourselves financial advisors here at Dechtman Wealth Management, we do provide the financial plan as well as all other services. So I think it's more just someone's preference in terms of, the title. I think they're generally interchangeable.
All right, so let's turn the coin a little bit here. We've talked a little bit about, why I need a financial advisor and why I should maybe rely on a professional. But now let's go to, the interview question that everybody hates. Tell me your weaknesses. So the question that I have for you is, and this is just us being very transparent with folks, what are some of the disadvantages to working with a financial advisor? When would it be best to maybe do this on my own?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would definitely say that I think most folks would benefit immensely from working with a financial advisor, but it does not apply to all people. I'd say that folks that should be doing it on their own are those that want to maintain complete control over their investments and want to, really be sort of the captain, leading the charge as far as their personal situation. And a financial advisor, like any professional, is only going to be able to help as much as someone's willing to, sort of seek out and accept that sort of advice. You know, if your doctor is giving you all of the different prescriptions and you know, ways to change your diet to improve your lifestyle, but you don't end up implementing any of that, you know, how much did that advice actually benefit you ultimately? So a financial advisor is the same thing. If they're providing advice and direction, and you know, you want to kind of go down your own path, you know, then maybe it makes sense to just continue to do things on your own. But I'd say the vast majority of people, you know, would benefit immensely from working with an advisor.
Let's talk about the cost of financial advising and working with someone. Obviously, you know, nothing's free, but this is also this is an investment in working with someone, because ideally there's value in working with a professional, like you've alluded to numerous times. But what is the cost? Kind of walk us through some of the cost structures and what, if I'm not working with a financial advisor right now, what I can expect to pay, you know, whether it be out of pocket initially or down the road, and how all that works.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's not many things in this world that you get into where you don't ask what the cost is, but before you end up purchasing it. And financial advice is certainly, you know, not dissimilar than that. And so I want to start out with what the value will look like with a financial advisor. And there's actually been quite a few widely cited studies on this particular topic. In fact, Vanguard in 2014 came out with a study when they tried to identify how much value does a financial advisor actually provide. And based on the smart folks at Vanguard, you know, high class, you know, higher education degrees, what they found in their research is that on an annual basis, a financial advisor can provide up to 3% in terms of value on an annual basis, you know, based on an individual's portfolio. And 3% is huge in terms of the value that is provided. And that number didn't even include all of the other services that a financial advisor might provide. That research was based on just the investment management piece and some areas related to that. It did not provide any analysis on a financial advisor providing help with taxes or Medicare or college education planning or things of that nature. And so that's very significant. And then there was also another study as well put out by Russell Investments, where they also analyzed, okay, what does a financial advisor actually provide in value? And based on Russell Investments research, they found that a financial advisor can actually provide close to 4% per year in terms of value. And so, and there's a whole host of other studies that you can go out and read, but those two I think are the most notable and most widely cited when it comes to trying to determine, okay, is a financial advisor something that might make sense for me? And so in terms of cost, there's many different ways that a relationship might be structured, but I'd say the most common way is when a financial advisor charges a percentage based on the amount of monies that they are helping you with. And in terms of, you know, what that percentage might be, I'd say on the high end, you probably are, you know, looking at 1.5% in terms of what the annual management cost would be. And on the low end, you know, it could be significantly cheaper if you were to go with a robo-advisor. But again, a robo-advisor is not an actual human that you're being able to interact with in that particular relationship. And then another type of structure that is available out there is where financial advisors still act in a transactional basis and sell investments and make different commissions, if you will, when products are sold. And so that's something at Dechtman Wealth Management, which we do not, you know, feel is in the best interest of the clients. We follow the assets under management in terms of that percentage, you know, model.
So you mentioned those are some great numbers, you know, in terms of the financial value, which is probably, item number one on someone's priorities with getting value. But you did allude to some non-financial benefits to having an advisor. So, and this goes to having a personal relationship, I feel. So talk to us a little bit about some of the not financial benefits that would come with working with a financial advisor.
Absolutely. And, I referenced this a little bit earlier, but like most things in life, the things you don't know can definitely hurt you. And when it comes to your overall financial situation, those things can hurt even more. And so working with a financial advisor and someone that you develop a deep long-term relationship with, they should be able to point things out to you that you hadn't really ever thought of. Or if they have a wealth of experience, they can point out to you best practices from things that they've seen in the past with their clients that have been successful, or things that maybe haven't been that successful. So you can avoid those particular, downfalls, if you will. For example, we have clients all the time where they ask us questions related to estate planning and how they should be listing beneficiaries, or how different accounts should be structured. And that's something where, unless you're going to consult, an attorney who maybe knows the correct answer, working with a financial advisor, they can, help you out with that aspect. And, maybe more importantly, really make sure that your heirs, will have everything all tidied up when that time comes.
So let's say I've been doing this myself for a few years, and I feel like I'm getting a pretty decent return on my investment working alone, and I'm not having to pay anyone. But there could be some signs that it's time to start consulting with a financial advisor. What are some of those signs, some of those things that I should be on the lookout for if I've been doing this on my own for a while, that it might be important to seek out some advice?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'd say is that when the markets are up, it's easy for investors to become complacent and possibly maybe even a little overconfident in you, if you will, that things will continue on their path for forever, depending on how overconfident you may be in that camp. And so what I would say is that even if you think that you're doing a great job doing it by yourself, most financial advisors will provide a free second opinion. And so it's of no, charge. It's of no, risk of your own to work with an advisor, just to have a second pair of eyes, take a look at it. And again, pointing out things to you that maybe you hadn't ever really considered. But I'd say most importantly, and this is a scenario that we're dealing with right now, is do you have a plan for when the market starts to turn, or the market has turned? It's very important to build the ark before it starts raining, because when things are going in the wrong direction and the market is headed downward, that's an opportunity, where you want to avoid shooting yourself in the foot and really, causing damage to your, overall financial situation. So do you have a plan? And if you do, what steps are you going to take when the market starts to turn? And what indicators are you going to look at to make those adjustments? And if you don't definitively know those answers, then it could be worth just having a conversation with someone to, talk through what a strategy might look like.
So I start the process. I've been doing this on my own, and I'm taking your advice and going to get a second, maybe a third, a fourth opinion to see who would be best to work with. How do I go about identifying the best financial advisor for me in my specific circumstances?
Yeah. What I would say, if I were in your shoes, I'd say the best financial advisor for you is someone you trust, is knowledgeable in the areas that you need help with, and has the experience. Now, I know for some people that may be difficult to fully, and immediately pick up on, but there are some questions and there are some things that you can do to, kick off that discussion and really make sure that you're having a constructive conversation. So one thing that would be extremely important to understanding is the advisor a fiduciary? And what a fiduciary means is someone has a legal obligation to always act in your best interest. And not all advisors have to always act as a fiduciary. So that's something that is extremely important, just knowing that this person has an obligation to, again, always be looking out for your best interests. The next part is, do they have experience or a specialty in the areas that you need help with? And the best way to go about that is asking them, hey, have you, helped in these particular areas? And maybe, can you describe a time when you've actually worked with a client, in my situation, and kind of how you helped them? And then in terms of the experience, ultimately you can gain this by understanding how long they've been in business, how long they've, been helping in a particular area. But one thing that I think is common with the internet age now is looking online and seeing their reviews. Do they have clients that have decided to go on Google and or wherever it may be, and talk about their experience? And I think that might give you a really good indication as to what their clients are saying about them and how they feel about them.
We're talking with Sam Dechtman. He's a wealth advisor and managing director at Dechtman Wealth Management. And Sam, let's wrap this conversation up with Dechtman Wealth. We've been talking about how sometimes different advisors fit different individuals' needs. So who is the ideal client for you guys at Dechtman Wealth?
Absolutely. So everyone at Dechtman Wealth is here first and foremost because we want to help our clients and their families reach their financial goals. And I'd say our experience is primarily focused with retirees and pre-retirees, business owners, women in transition, whether that be, divorce, marriage, death, or those that have inherited money, and professionals. We believe that we provide the most value when our clients have 500,000 or more in investable assets. Over the years, we've learned that those are the type of people that have benefited the most from our services.
Well, Sam, we really appreciate the time today. If you guys are interested to learn more, you have follow-up questions, we've got all of Sam's contact info in the link right here on this video, so you can contact Dechtman Wealth Management. And we hope that answered some questions on how to identify and best utilize a financial advisor. Sam, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it.